What is going on, people? Hope you're having a good day or whatever time it is. I hope it is great for you. So, I've had the pleasure of using this device right here, the S23 Plus, for a little over 2 weeks now, and pretty much I am ready to share some random thoughts, some random things, some significant things, or things that really stood out to me. And hopefully some of these are useful. I can't necessarily say that I have too much to say or as much as I usually do, but these are just some things that stuck out. Hopefully there's something in this random babble of mine that will interest somebody somewhere. So let's get started. So the first thing about this device is that if you were looking for a design change, you're not really going to find much here. This device pretty much looks like the S22 Plus, and I don't know if to say that's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just that there's just not really much of a design change here. The only difference is here is the fact that it comes in this lime green color here now, and you also have these three camera sort of islands here, I guess you could say, as opposed to the S22 Plus, which had that like big block there with the cameras embedded in them. I do like this design a little bit more, and it does give it a more simplistic look, like there's not much going on out there. But really that is kind of the most significant design change here. So if you're looking for a new design, you're not going to find it here. The next thing here is that even though this device does not have a 4K display, this is a really good display. Sure, if you were to look deep into it, you could probably discern some individual pixels, but the resolution actually works out for this, and it actually works in another reason, which I'll get to during this whole random facts of 2 weeks later thing. But yeah, just some of the pictures I took here. This display is very, very detailed. Like the colors are very pleasing and everything. It's just an all-around good display. So I would not worry about it having a lower resolution display than on most other devices. You're definitely gonna love this thing. The next thing here is that this device, and I don't remember if the S23 Ultra had the same issue. I don't think it did, but this device has some Wi-Fi issues. Now, I can't necessarily say if it's specific to a particular version of Wi-Fi, but I do have a Wi-Fi 6E router. And what'll usually happen here is you'll see that it's connected to my router, but it'll say connected with no internet. And it does that sporadically. You'll get like the little icon up here with an exclamation point, and I won't be able to connect to the internet. Now, this is something that also happens with my Tab S8 Ultra. So I'm pretty sure it is just Samsung software kind of being Samsung software. Not that I'm saying Samsung software is bad, but there are some things that they do need to address. So if you do have a Wi-Fi 6E router, maybe even a Wi-Fi 6 router, do be careful with that. And I've actually tried, going into that router, logging into that router, doing some sort of QoS control if you're into that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just continue to have issues with this router and this phone. The next thing here is that the camera specifications are the exact same as they are on the S22 Plus. So if you were expecting a change in camera, that is not going to happen here. I do believe that Samsung is potentially using a different color science, or maybe it could be the way that this display displays colors. Pictures do come out looking a tad better on this display versus the S22 Plus, if I remember, but the camera sensor sizes are the exact same. The aperture is the exact same. So you're getting the same exact cameras on the back of this device. Do not be fooled by the design change. Next thing has to do with the camera, and I cannot get it to do it here, but for some reason there is this like camera lag issue. Actually, it just did it. You wouldn't have seen it, but I felt it here. Whenever you're taking a picture, there's kind of this sporadic sort of lag that happens. Like when you press the shutter, it's supposed to vibrate after that to let you know that you've taken the picture. Now, I went and pressed the shutter and then the vibration came. Pressed it, vibration came. Sometimes I have it to where I'm taking that picture and that vibration, that confirmation vibration that comes after I press the shutter actually takes like maybe 2 more seconds than it actually should. And what happens here is, and I don't have any pictures to show this, but I did have one. I deleted it by accident. What happens is it seems like the camera is using a longer shutter speed in some cases to take different pictures, and that confirmation just comes after. So it can kind of trip you up, making you think that you didn't take a picture or that you didn't take a good picture. But yeah, random, but just wanted to point that out. For this next point, or this next significant thing, I actually made this same exact point about the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I actually made a video for it, but I don't think that the best feature on the S23 Plus was its 200 megapixel camera or even the slightly changed design. I thought that it was or at least I still think it is the battery life. Now, battery life is an important factor of any device, and I feel like we have not gotten the promises that Samsung has made, or mostly any other manufacturer has made, but that all seems to have changed with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy. So what I'm talking about is the efficiency of the parts built inside of this device. You know, you got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the LPDDR5X RAM, you have the display here that's not 4K, but that doesn't matter because 4K doesn't really matter on a screen this small. All of that contributes to the fact that these things get superb battery life. But if you look at this screenshot that I took here, you'll see I've used the phone for 1 day and 4 hours. Screen on time, let's zoom in there. My screen on time, 7 hours and 16 minutes. Screen off time, 21 hours and 8 minutes. I cannot make this up. Like, the battery life is definitely the biggest and best feature on the S23 series. I wish I could actually go ahead and test the S23 to kind of see what that battery life is going to be like, but I think it'd be similar to this. But all in all, what I am saying is you will get over a day's worth of battery life, provided you're not doing anything like crazy at that point. And even if you're using your phone to watch like a 2160p video on full brightness, I'm pretty sure you're gonna at least get 7 hours doing strictly just that. So if you are using your phone normally, just, you know, watching a video here and there and everything, expect to get over a day's worth of battery life. And I'm sorry I'm stressing this, but I'm just downright amazed by that. You know, when people say, you know, that they'll get a device when all the bugs are worked out, well, that may be the case here. So there are two weird glitches that I have had with this device. They've been sporadic, but they've been a little bit more constant than I would have liked, or than I'm used to anyway. And one of those issues is that when I connect to my Galaxy Buds Pro 2 here, while I'm on a phone call, it will say that it is connected. You know, you can actually see it light up in blue here, but it will not allow me to switch over to the buds for some reason. I have to end up going in here, turning off Bluetooth, turning it back on pretty much. And it's just this weird glitch that happens. I don't think it's gonna happen with everybody's device, but it is something you wanna be aware of if you do constantly use Bluetooth. The other issue I have is with the built-in My Files app. And I know most people are probably going to use another file explorer, but I'm kind of lazy. I like to use this one here. There is this weird glitch where when you open multiple My File explorers, one of them will sort of freeze in place. Like if you were in something here, like internal storage or something like that, it'll freeze on this window and it won't let me do anything with it until I go out. Like I have to actually go outside of the app and then basically go ahead and close it, like if it's an app here, and then go back in. And even sometimes it'll still be frozen. Like one time I had it where I was in my OneDrive and it still thought that I was in my OneDrive here, but it was actually showing me this screen. And obviously I can't show you this now because it's not happening, but yeah, if you do use My Files, there is a little bit of a glitch. So the last thing I want to talk about that stood out to me is who this phone is going to be for. So I'll say this, if you have an S22 Plus, I would urge you to keep that device. Unless you actually really need the battery life that this device offers. You know, if your phone screen on your S22 Plus is cracked or broken, I don't feel like this is going to be a worthwhile upgrade. I feel like this is something you're probably going to get and you're going to realize later down the line, well, darn, I just got the same phone I had before. So if you have an S22 Plus, I would definitely say keep that phone. Especially because Samsung's trade-in values this year are horrible, like downright abysmal bad, so bad. So yeah, not worth the upgrade. Now, if you have something like the S21 Plus, or S20 Plus, or, you know, so on and so forth downward, yeah, this device is worth the upgrade, because you know what? Now you're finally getting the battery claims. You're finally getting a display that is downright pretty good, I gotta say. You're definitely getting something that is quality, but I really feel like you'd see that difference when coming from the S21 Plus or the S20 Plus in this phone. If you were coming from one of those phones, you'd say to yourself, most likely, you know what, this was worth. I feel like you'd say to yourself, you know what, this was a worthwhile upgrade from those phones. It's just that there's not too much difference from last year's model, and that is just strictly my opinion. But anyway, that is all I have to say about that. With all of that being said, though, I thank you for watching this video. I know that a lot of these points and most of the points I make are always random. I didn't really have too much that I could find wrong with this phone, aside from the, you know, software issues I had, the glitches that I had, you know, the fact that the design hasn't changed, the cameras haven't changed. Other than that, it's a good device. I just don't think it's for everybody, especially if you bought last year's model. But with that being said, wherever you're on the world, have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, or a good night, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching again.